What is the key to being healthy? Is it, do I need to lose weight? Do I need to gain weight? What is it that keeps everybody stuck? Well, guess what? We have all the answers to help you break those roadblocks coming up.
Living Optimally with Pamela Jones is brought to you by Meditating Motivators.
Hello and welcome again. If this is your first time checking in with us, we want to say welcome. But take the time to go back and be able to see what all we had in our first episodes. But what we're talking about is living life optimally with Pam Jones. What does it mean to be optimally healthy? Well, we want to be able to remind you it's being balanced in all areas of your life, not just one. What are those areas? Physical, mental, emotional, social, and your spiritual health. So we're going to take time to break down all of those areas. But today on this episode, I'm going to focus on maybe one, but probably two that you're going to see that's going to tie in hand. And by the end of all of these series, you will actually see how all of them tie together. And that is what will create you being optimally healthy. So let's get started. Most of the time, people are always focused on getting fit. That is really great to be able to do. But most of the time, people instantly want to think about, okay, I've got to lose weight. So I need to be able to work hard. I need to exercise. I got to get my heart rate up. I'm doing all of these things. And what's the next thing they do is I've got to be able to shorten up how I'm eating. I've got to be able to, I'm going to be deprived because I love chocolate. I love my comfort foods. And that's okay, but I'm going to show you a great way to be able to change and to go from what we said before, using the word diet, to being able to change into a lifestyle. So being able to change into a lifestyle for a lifetime, remember that. So one of the things I wanted to be able to focus on is your physical health, because everybody focuses on your physical health. But most of the time, people are trying to get fit. Now, it's so interesting. I like to share that word fit can be broken down F-I-T. And if you look at the F-I-T, the F is for frequency, the I is for intensity, and the T is for time. In other words, your duration, how long. So yes, when you're doing an exercise program, you need to be able to use those different terms, frequency, intensity, and time, your duration, to be able to see about burning calories. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you so many different ways, because a lot of it is I want you just being active. Get moving your body in the ways that you don't normally do. Now, before, in the first episode, I shared with my viewers that I was weighing 75 pounds more then than I do now. Now, I've also gone through a lot of different knee surgeries, back surgeries, and a long list of other things. But do I actually go out there and have to really burn myself trying to exercise so hard? Not necessarily. But what I did was I learned how to rethink things. So another component that I'm going to tie in today with the physical is actually the mental. Now, your mental health, I'm going to break down different things. Now, you're going to be saying, oh my goodness, she's giving a lot of information today, and that's what I want to be able to do. But just remember, there'll be plenty of times for you to be able to ask me further questions, which I highly recommend that you be able to reach out with all of your questions, comments, and concerns. Please be able to do that. And just a reminder, you can do that on my website at meditatingmotivators.com, or just email me at pam@meditatingmotivators.com. Well, I want to start with mental health. A lot of times people get this so confused with mental illness, and yes, that is something that's very important now, because I like to do a lot of work with that. But I want to be able to say we all have mental health. It is how we think about the things that we do, our mindset. So when you think of mental health, I want you to think in terms of mindset. What is your mindset about how you look? What is your mindset about what you eat, how much you eat, what is it doing to your body, and what is your mindset about what you need to be doing in your next steps? So when I say mental health, I want to also remind you, think about the things that you're putting into your mind on a day-to-day basis. Are you reading books? What things are you listening to? Do they motivate you? Do they keep you on track? And how does that help you with your momentum? Most of the time, the number one thing that clients always come to me and say is, I don't have the motivation to keep myself on track. Well, guess what? That's not just with your eating. That's with everything in life. How do you stay on track with your goals for your business, your job? How do you stay on track? So it's all about your mental health, your mindset. Okay, so with that being said, I want you to change how you look at it. Now, when I was saying before about me weighing 75 pounds more than I do now, one of the things I had to do was to break traditions. Traditions are wonderful, but I had to learn and research that the traditions that I learned wasn't always great for me. So I grew up in the South. So we had some good eating. So when we actually ate, so as I grew up, one of the things I thought was I had to learn how to cook that same way to pass it along. So I had to be ready for Thanksgiving and every other holiday that come along. But with that being said, one of the things that I wanted to do was I changed my mindset. Didn't mean I had to completely give up everything that I loved, but I just changed how I ate it. Now, one of the things that I changed was how often I ate, and I was going through so much research to find out what it is. Do I need to give up meat? Do I need to give up fish? Do I need to give up all of these things? Not necessarily. I just have to learn which things work in my body. Now, the tricky thing about mindset and your mental health, I grew up always hearing people say, well, diabetes run in my family. Well, guess what? It doesn't have to. Or I heard people always say, well, everybody in my family has high blood pressure. That's something, again, doesn't have to. So my mindset could tell me, well, this is going to be the normal. So if I go to the doctor and I find that out, then it just runs in my family. So I'm just like my family. And it's great to be able to have those things. But throughout this series, I'm going to show you different ways that you can be able to do not to be able to have that. Now, another thing with mindset that we're going to be talking about is being able to feel that the moment you use the word diet, you already teach yourself, oh my goodness, I'm going to be deprived of something. I'm not going to be able to enjoy anything. And that is so far from the truth. I eat all the time. I love to eat. Now, just so happened, now the way that I eat, I'm very mindful. So another episode down the road is going to be great because I'm going to tie in your mental health with your spiritual health. So a lot of things when I say that I'm mindful, you need to be mindful of everything that you're doing. And one of the ways that I do is I become very mindful of what I'm eating. I make sure I go through those basic 5 senses. And when I say those 5 senses, when we were little kids and we learned the 5 senses of sight, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all of those little sights like this. Mindfulness, when you are eating, if you really take the time with each one of those, I promise you it will make you appreciate your food. You will digest better, your body will absorb it better, and you won't just be consuming foods that are empty and that are not healthy for you. So I purposefully make sure I eat things that are what I call electric cell foods, things that give me natural energy. Because guess what? Our body is a temple. A lot of times people always know your body, treat your body as a temple. It is a temple. But let me tell you this. Think about around the world, some of the most gorgeous, mesmerizing temples around the world that most people are just in awe of. Think about it. If you had an opportunity to walk into those temples, what would you do? How would you treat it? When you walk into that, you would be so solemn. You would make sure you giving the highest respect. If you needed to take your shoes off, you would take your shoes off. You would just observe everything around it. Why? Because it is something that is so sacred. Guess what? Your body is your temple. So why do we not treat it the same way? So that's the kind of thing when I say changing your mindset, you really have to view yourself as a temple. Okay, so making sure that you do your temple with the highest respect. So let's think about the way that we eat physically. Most of the time when we're talking about our physical health, we're only focused on we either need to exercise or we need to eat right. We either need to exercise or we need to fit. We need to be able to exercise or we need to eat right. And that is what we think physical health is all about. But I'm here to tell you, I want you to think in terms of how much rest do you get? That is a part of your physical health. Most of the time we're going without even thinking about quality sleep. Not just going to sleep for a number of hours, but are you getting restful sleep? Do you feel rejuvenated? Is your body having an opportunity to rebuild and rejuvenate when you do rest? Another thing is water. Are you properly hydrated? I want to be able to make sure you understand the importance. Our bodies are primarily made of water. So most of the time people are not getting enough water. You hear some people say how much water you need to get. Oh, you need to drink 8 glasses of water a day, or sometimes you hear you really need to be able to make sure you're drinking half your body weight. If you take how much you weigh in pounds and you take half of that, drink that in ounces. That make you think, am I really getting enough water? And think in terms of when you're thinking about physical, I want you to think about 80% comes from what you eat and put into your body. The other 20% is, guess what? Lifestyle, what you do to maintain that. So that's a big difference right there. So it's easy to be able to be mindful. So with that water, being able to make sure you're hydrated, because guess what? A lot of times people will say, but I stay hungry all the time. I stay hungry all the time. And when they're hungry, they just grab food. And what you're doing is you're putting empty contents inside of you, empty calories. And what that does is make you crave more and more of the things that you don't want to. And guess what? We're going to add a new segment coming down the road, and I'm going to show you some different ways that you can change some of the ingredients and some of the dishes that you eat so you never miss the foods that you love. I'll just show you how to be able to have the foods that go into your body that don't really build up into your system, okay? So when I say with water, a lot of times people think, I'm so hungry, I need to eat more. And guess what? People don't understand. Most of the time, you're really dehydrated. You don't have enough to drink in your body. So most of the time when you think you're hungry, your body is really trying to tell you that you're thirsty. And one last tip about hydration, think about this. Most of the time a person say, in the summertime I drink so much water, I can just drink a whole gallon at one drop because I get so thirsty. Well, if your body is getting really dry and thirsty, that's another thing that you need to be able to look at. That's not really normal and healthy. So we want to be able to look at, are you getting adequate enough water that you're consuming? And then we're going to also look at the quality of water that you're drinking.
See that woman? She's not just someone who can make a Cancun vacation tax deductible. She's a marketer. Sharon uses constant contact email to maintain and build relationships. She sends her clients professional newsletters. And she can see who opens and clicks on them, so she knows what's working. It's not just those fast fingers that keep Sharon's clients flocking back. Sharon's a marketer, and all it took was constant contact. Try it free.
Visita provides a complete business calendar, fully integrated with your client scheduling experience. You can view and manage your daily schedule and any upcoming meetings, and most importantly, schedule new appointments and follow-ups with your clients. Using Visita Calendar for client scheduling will save you time and deliver a better service to your clients. Visita Calendar automatically syncs with your existing calendar on Google, Outlook, iPhone, and more.
Welcome back. At this time, we would just like to thank our sponsors for being able to sponsor us so we can actually be able to have this show. And we'd like to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in. And we want you to continue to tune in. And if you or someone you know would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me at meditatingmotivators.com or email me at pam@meditatingmotivators.com. We would love to have you as a sponsor on the show. Now, before the break, we were talking about your mindset, your mental health in conjunction with your personal health. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give you a few tools and specific things to be able to remember whenever you're focusing on why is it that I struggle. Think in terms of how I think presently is what's keeping me from being able to reach my goals. And remember, I don't care if you are doing business, if you are very professional in your career, your job, or you're just looking to find your next opportunity. Remember, health is essential to all of your success. So your health is the foundation of everything you do. So health, this encompasses all of us. Now, a few things that will really help you focus on things is, this is so important. Convenience. We have become a society that we're so busy. And most of the people that I work with are professionals who tell me all the time, help me be able to integrate work-life balance. Help me to be able to know how not to be so stressed on my job. The kids are driving me crazy. We all go through these things. But some of the times we just have to be able to stop for a moment and decompress. So I'm going to show you so many different ways to do that. But we become so hooked on convenience that we actually start doing this without thinking about it. So when I say convenience, we look for things that can happen really quickly. Like social media, when we need things instant. Even our kids, everybody wants everything instant gratification. So even thinking about this when we're talking about our physical health, convenience, we want the convenience of not having to cut up our food. We want the convenience of not having to pick out seeds. Everybody, oh, they got seedless grapes. Oh, they got seedless watermelon. So we want the convenience and we think that's helping us. But newsflash, guess what? Is that really healthy for us? Because what is able to produce without seeds? Think about that. Now that you had a moment to think about it, it doesn't make sense. We need seeds, but we just want to be able to have everything healthy. But we got to think, is that healthy for our bodies? We're living in a society now that everybody's becoming sick. And when we are sick, we don't feel well. We're bloated. We're nauseous. People say, oh, I got a headache. So what do? Let me find something to take for that headache. Instead of, what is causing this headache? What is causing me to be able to not feel well? Why is it that I'm having these irritations on my skin on a regular basis? It's fun to be able to go back and find out how your body authentically wants to function in this world. So when I say convenience, sometimes ask yourself, is the convenience worth me killing myself? So when I say that, you can slowly introduce yourself to different things that are not really helpful for you or healthy for you. So we just do it out of routine and out of convenience. And guess what we do as parents? We put it right in our children's mouth because what? I was there. My son playing baseball. I'm having a full-time job. He's got baseball practice. He's got play practice. I've got to be able to get him to the baseball park. So guess what I feed him? Oh, they got hot dogs over there. They got chips over there. So let me just get your belly full. Is he really satisfied? So then I want to make him go to sleep. Is he getting a good night's sleep? And then when he wakes up for the next day, is he really alert? Now that also brings me to the point, I spent many years teaching middle school. So me being a middle school teacher, I had a chance to observe the students. So one of the things that I wanted to take as a lifetime practice is being able to see, how do we perform at our optimal level? That is the reason why optimal health has always been so important to me. How do the children perform at their optimal level? Sometimes we get so focused on trying to drive the mathematics, the science, and social studies down, but we're not taking the time to be able to see, are they balanced? What's going on mentally? What's going on emotionally? How are they interacting spiritually or socially with others? So that whole socio-emotional aspect is missing. And so we are instantly able to test them for their IQ to see how smart, but we can't always see what's going on. And believe it or not, our character defines so much of all of us. So when we're thinking about physical and the convenience of things, changing your mindset to be able to say, is that really worth it? So that convenience. So take a little bit of extra time to be able to pick those seeds out and slice those things up and prepare. And so guess what? Along this series, I'm going to show you so many helpful ways to be able to learn how to find different things at a discount in the stores and be able to have foods that keep you filled and healthy. Because guess what? Whole natural foods are your body's natural medicines. Now, the fun I've had is learning how to observe my own body. Like I said earlier, I love to eat. So I no longer think about, oh, don't eat until like 2 hours later. I got to spread it out. I got to count all these calories and things. Right now, I make sure I eat natural electric foods that are alkaline. Alkaline has been around for years, but I do that so I don't have to worry about those things because they're already low in calories and things, but they're also very healthy for your body. And guess what? All of our bodies are natural healers. We just stop the process. Did you know that? So when I say natural healing, our body wants to think about this term, heal thyself. Heal thyself. If you look at that and break it down and put the first two words together, it's actually saying healthy self. So the key to you being healthy and making yourself healthy is allowing it to heal. How do you do that? By really taking pride and taking concern with what you're putting in your body. So I'll show you so many different ways that you can be able to do that and be able to heal yourself without all of the extra chemicals that you're taking in on a day-to-day basis. Well, I hope you've received a lot of great information and received a lot of good tips so far throughout the series. And at this moment, I just want to be able to share that since the first episode, we have received several different questions and comments that have been coming in, and we want to encourage you to continue to write in to us, send in all of your questions, comments, and any kind of things you want to be able to share with us. But I want to take this time to be able to share two things. I'm just going to pick out a couple things. And the first one that comes in was from someone from DC that actually said to me, Pam, what is it? How do you intertwine or integrate what you love to do at your jobs or anything with what you love to do for others? Well, that question was interesting, so I wanted to find clarity with that. What I do is, most of the time when people have jobs, they try to separate them. And I did that for years. I wanted to go in and just do what I needed to do on my job, and then I wanted to see what time I had left out to do what it is that I truly love to do, which was really my purpose. And most of the time, people use their purpose as a hobby, and so they don't utilize a lot of time with that. So when I say make sure that you integrate, even on your job, find different ways to be able to remind yourself, ask that question, why is it that I truly love? What is it that drives me every day? And so I get up and say that every day before I even put my feet on the floor. I meditate and do all of those things. So how can I take that on my jobs, or when I'm actually coaching someone, or even when I'm going on a speaking engagement? How do I actually take that into what I'm doing and help that? Another tip I always say is to make sure that you know that you're doing it for a greater good beyond yourself, because when you're really just focused on yourself, then you get stuck right there with that. Just for the sake of time, another one I wanted to be able to highlight, which I thought this was a really great question that come in from someone right here in Atlanta, that says, Pam, what do you do to lessen the impact of your daily stress, whether it is with family or your job, because you're very busy and have a demanding schedule? How do you actually lessen the stress that you go through and use that for what you truly love? Well, one of the things I do, and I would highly encourage you to do, is to make sure that you don't take on stress that doesn't belong to you. What I like to say is there's things that are going to be falling apart around you all the time. Ask yourself the simple question, is that mine to take on? And if it's not, be able to do what you can with the situation and then move on. Another thing I do is I find little ways to do, I always say mini vacations to just de-stress from the moment. If I need to be able to take a moment to be quiet, sometimes I sit in my car, sometimes I go into a quiet room, sometimes I just sit there to be able to meditate. A lot of times people say, I have a hard time focusing on meditate. It could be because you really don't fully understand about meditation. And guess what? Remembering the company is Meditating Motivators. So within this series, I'm going to show you some very simple ways that you can be able to meditate, because what's great is most people say, oh, I was meditating and didn't even realize I was meditating. And it's very simple, but it is so needed into our life on a daily basis. And one of the things that people ask me is, what did you do in your life? What about your life helped you to be able to do what it is that you do? Well, first of all, the name of the company is Meditating Motivators. And one of the things is being able to meditate on what is right for me and not what everybody else around me is doing. And that's the things that I hope that you take into your life, is learning how you can also become your own motivator as you learn to meditate on the things that are right for you. I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope you received a lot of great information. I want to ask you to continue to tune into bizlinks.tv for all of our upcoming episodes. To reach me, you can reach me through my website at meditatingmotivators.com or email me at pam@meditatingmotivators.com. I would love to get all of your questions or comments. With that being said, here's to you living life optimally.